What's up? Just wanted to come in here real quick. You know, we have a lot of criticism that people give against the Bible. But did you know that the most evidence when it comes to manuscripts, the Bible has the most evidence. There are about 14,000 separate manuscripts for the Old, and for the New Testament, it's 25,000. No other book that people use for religious belief has more manuscripts. All right? There's more than for the Quran or for the Hindu religion. That means that more people were so inspired by those books, the Old and New Testament, that they continue to copy it and to pass it on and continue to share it. All right, by people, and people had to pay to get this done. Common people, or people that had money and wanted to sponsor, the book being distributed, throughout different communities or for their own personal libraries and things like that. But think about that. People were so inspired by the Bible. Historically, we're talking about thousands and thousands of years, that we have 39,000, almost 40,000 historical proofs of the Bible, historical evidences of the text itself. And what's even more amazing is that not only was the first part of the book inspiring and believable by the people that believed in it, which were the Israelites, so-called Jews, the real Jews, the Israelites, their faith and belief in the Old Testament was so strong that when they wrote about it in what we call the New Testament, that went even further. So now you have both volumes being put together, both experiences being put together and shared with people all around the globe. And that's amazing. So when you try to criticize the Bible, and you try to talk against the Bible, the evidence is right there. There's no other source of knowledge, information that covers global world history better than the Bible. And there's no book that's more distributed than the Bible throughout history. So it means something. It means something. It means that the spiritual message in that book is captivating to mankind in general, all right, and to Israelites specifically. All right, so you have to really give credit where credit is due, and there's nobody else, no other book, no other race of people, calling the Israelites a race, no other race of people have been able to achieve such widespread distribution of their national text than the book of the Israelites. No, it's not a book for everybody. It may include everybody. Everybody is included in that book. It talks about all different ethnicities that are on the planet now. It talks about the origin of the races and of different nations. They're in there, but it's our book. And it was revealed chiefly to us. The oracles were given to the children of Israel. So it's our book. We can share it and read it and let other people use it. And other people have stolen it and misused it, but it's our book. And we were so inspiring to all people that they chose in all languages, all continents, all countries, they chose, we're going to believe in this book. We're going to believe in this black man named Moses, or we're going to believe in this black man named Christ. They believe in those two black men. Not only that, but even after the Bible was finished, to this day, black people continue to inspire and motivate innovation, social outlets, all right, across the whole globe. The children of Israel and the children of Judah, all right, the Latinos, so-called blacks, Haitians, Jamaicans, American blacks, which are, 3 or 4 different tribes, but the innovation and the inspiration, continues to be made. So this is not something to look at. So the Bible is the most prolific book that mankind has ever seen. And this is the kicker. It was spread in a very disorganized way, but nonetheless it was spread. And people felt so convicted, and it was so loosely controlled that people just started taking it and doing it their own thing. Even though they did it under a guise of they were, deceivers, but it's such a good book, you just let it go, and it does what it's gonna do to whoever gets it. Unlike Islam, which has a very strong tight hold on its book and its believers, very concentrated power. Bible wasn't like that. All right, especially in the 1st and 2nd centuries and the 3rd centuries. The Bible didn't even start to get, sort of controlled until the Catholics took over. And then after then, you still had different, groups that were not Catholics, but the Catholics were the majority power structure, so they took over the religious aspect of the Bible for the next few hundred years. And then you had, of course, the Protestant Reformation. But I just wanted to share that with you. The Bible has almost 40,000 manuscripts that you can trace throughout history, just to show how much of an influence and how much of an impact it's had on human history in general. All right, so let's not criticize the Bible. It's been used as a tool to oppress people by certain words, but when you read the Bible itself, or when you pick out one book of the Bible itself, you'll find out that it's a very revolutionary book. It is a very poignant book. It is a very accurate book in terms of predicting what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and by whom these events will occur. All right, so if you dive deeper into it, you'll get a deeper understanding of it. If you just stay on the surface, you'll get a surface understanding. If you looking for something to criticize and not like, to discredit the Bible, you'll find something. Just like somebody can find something about you to not like, and discredit you, to ruin your reputation. But that doesn't necessarily change the overall impact and reality of who you are. And just like with the Bible, people don't believe it or people don't want to believe it, it doesn't change the impact of the validity and the truth of the Bible itself, my friends. All right, so let's be sensible in how we approach the Bible. And if you see something from the Bible and you get a whole bunch of people that want to criticize the Bible, they haven't read it. If you read the Bible, you will believe it. If you read it, especially if you read it in a more of a chronological type of order, because it's not always arranged chronologically. But if you see the development of the history of the children of Israel, my people, and you read the Bible in that order, there's no way you can walk away from it not believing it. Why? Because you can see the history, you can see the experiences, you can see the characteristics and the descriptions of the people that it's talking about. And then once you see that, you're gonna say, man, this book is accurate. And then you go into, I'll make another video later about the differences between the Old Testament and New Testament, and how if you believe in one and endorse one, you have to believe and endorse the other. All right, and there's a code that's written in the Bible that brings the Old Testament and the New Testament together to let you know that this is a package deal. All right, this is a package deal. All right, so I'll get into that a little later. Trust the Bible, believe the Bible, read the Bible thoroughly, line for line, chapter for chapter, book for book, and you won't be disappointed. All right, sure.